Hi, everyone. Steve Wasik, Insight Global and Evergreen's VP of Talent Services, husband, father, and I will make you the best vodka sauce you've ever had in your life.
Wow, interesting. Katie Hillary, I'm our Chief of Staff of Sales. Steve Wasik met my husband before I did.
Bert Bean, CEO of Insight Global. I've had Steve Wasik's vodka sauce. It is that good.
Oh, interesting.
Let's go.
Today, we are going to discuss the power of being obsessive. Bert, as I've gotten closer to the epicenter of your brain, and Steve, as we have become real-life friends over the years, I have witnessed the wonders of both of your obsessive tendencies at play. And I want to dive into this with you. So what does it mean, first, let's set the table. What does it mean to be obsessive? Wasik, I'll start with you.
I think it means to care a lot, is what I think it means. I think it's that simple. I think it's you have a few things, maybe you have a lot of things, I don't know, but you have something that you care a lot and you think about it a lot. And it drives your actions, it drives your behavior, and it drives you.
Yeah, it was kind of words out of my mouth. I was going to say it. Boy, you really care about a thing.
Yep.
You really care. You really want to get it right. And it's something that takes incredible focus and attention, and you want to give it all to that.
So that we have some context, what are you obsessive over? What are you obsessed with right now?
For me, I think, I'm CEO of a company, and so I feel like I've got a lot of responsibility. I've got, I always feel like I've got about the careers of the 5,500 or so people in my hands, and I'm responsible for them. So, I'm really obsessive about trying to do really well by them and by the company. I'm also a husband and a dad, and so I definitely want to make sure that I'm doing right by them as well. So it's obsession with making sure the company is as good a place as it can be, but then also not letting that distract too much from my home life. And then just to I guess finish the answer, I don't have many hobbies. I like to read, but I don't play golf or anything. So I do have I've got a hobby that is around marathon running and running ultra marathons. And I love that because of the training aspect of it. It's a good outlet for me, and I can do that early in the morning before work. And I would say I'm very obsessed with that.
Give me some miles. Did you run this morning?
I did, yeah.
How many?
I ran 9.5 miles this morning.
Okay.
Which is light work for Mr. Bean. That is light work. That's like a little happy little nice jog.
What is the longest race or otherwise? What's the longest distance that you've ever ran?
The longest was an ultra I ran last year called the Leadville 100. I ran that. I'm signed up for
100, implying that it was
miles.
100 miles that you ran.
Yeah, you got to finish it without stopping, essentially.
How is that even possible for a human?
It's possible, and people run farther than that. So it is. Well, that's the thing. I like.
How long does it take? I have a lot of questions.
It took me 29 hours and 5 minutes. Yeah.
What?
You see 2 sunrises. It was pretty. But it's.
And you don't sleep.
No.
Right?
No.
No, you just.
No, but I like. I like. So I've got this. I think I don't know. I read this book called Born to Run, and I really liked it, and they talk about it, and so I'm like, oh crap.
So this is what triggered your desire to run?
No, I've been a hobby runner since high school. It's my primary form of exercise. If I'm going to work out, I'd always rather run than lift weights.
But when did it become obsessive? Like, what was that trigger?
So it really became, a couple things. One, 2021, the Braves were in the World Series, and I took my sweet little daughter, Ellie. Her and I went to the World Series together, and we took a picture. And I remember seeing a picture of myself, and I was fat.
Was 2021 Bert fat?
I was like so.
Wait, can I see it? Hold on.
Skinny, fat, fat. We can post it.
Can we put a photo? Can the photo just come up right here?
I was like,
that'd be amazing.
And I was like, it was a good year, and I think I was a little fat and happy, and so I was like, I gotta get more consistent with running. So I did, and that was 22. But then I know going into 2023, I was like, this is going to be a hard year at work. It's going to be really hard to feel validation. It's going to be really hard to feel like I've got to win. And I would like to find another way to do that outside of work. And if you run a marathon, they give you a medal. And I like that. I was like, I want to chase that sense of accomplishment. And so I made it a real decision to do that. So the first marathon I ran was in February of 2023. And then I ran and that was the Atlanta one. Then I ran the Boston one in April of that year. And then I ran Berlin in the fall of that year, or summer of that year. And then I read this book, Born to Run, and it was on ultra marathon, specifically the Leadville 100. And do you guys have these things where you read something or you see something and it triggers something where you're like, oh crap, I got to go do that.
I got to do that.
I mean, not to that extent.
Yeah. Well, that's
Not where I go from sitting on the couch and then I run 3 marathons in that year and then I run 100 miler. So I want to say yes and pile on here, boys, but nope.
Yeah.
Haven't been moved to that extent. So maybe I'll pick up that book, but it doesn't feel like it's in the cards. I'm impressed.
But so it is like, I'm addicted to that feeling of, I mean, do you know how hard it is when you're running even a 50K, which is 31 miles? There's a lot of suffering there, and it's suffering that takes place over like 5 to 8 hours. And so, do you know how good that feels to finish the finish line, to cross the finish line at that point? It feels amazing. And it's hard to get that sensation after like a 5-mile jog.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
People do, and you can. But where I'm at right now, like, boy, to cross that goal, the most tangible goal I can think of is a really cool feeling.
How long does that elation last when
About 10 minutes. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Is that right? It's about 10 minutes, and then you're
right,
like,
and you get your car. Well, it is 10 minutes, but then you sort of have that glow
for a day or two.
More than that, it's knowing that now you can do it.
Right.
And so I will say maybe what I didn't realize was the confidence that gets unlocked from doing that is like, oh, I did this. I can do other things. I can do anything, right? If I can do that. And so I like carrying around that sort of confidence, I think.
I think the closest feeling that I've had to that was giving birth without an epidural.
Right.
It was like the most painful.
It's got to be way more painful.
Crazy, intense, horrible thing followed by like an actual chemical, insane, euphoric. The closest thing, like when I hear about the euphoria of doing all of the wild drugs, I'm like, that must be what it is the craziest high. It's insane. And it is this feeling of accomplishment. Like, oh my gosh, if I can do that, I can do absolutely
anything. And you carry that with you, right?
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah. Didn't want to do it again. But I'm very, very impressed. Proud of you for that. That is very obsessive. Steve, what are you obsessive about?
By the way, humbled to be talking obsessive with Bert Bean. So excited for this episode.
And also, just before we move on, I'm not letting you get away with your professional answer. Because you didn't really like go there with it. I don't feel like every CEO is of course obsessed with like making the company successful and taking care of their people. So just gonna give you a little time to mull that over.
We'll come back to that.
We're gonna circle back. But Steve, what are you obsessive over right now?
I think I've been obsessive for a long time. By the way, I think this is sort of a trait, but I think I got super obsessive when Bert asked me to build Compass. Like I was always obsessed with doing the work that we do. Like we have such an amazing
Compass being the cultural.
That's right. Yeah. Like the work that we do at Insight Global is so lovely. Like we give people jobs, we grow our people through it. I was always obsessive about that, but I think I really figured out like my next level of obsessive when Bert asked me to build our culture.
Yeah, because you became a student of it. Like you, what a cool thing that you got paid now to study that and to break it up and build something, right?
It was also interesting when you work for, like when I was working for Insight Global, there's like hundreds of us. Right. And our brand is like the collection of us. And then when I went to build Compass, I was like, oh, there's me. Like I better figure this out. But I'm still obsessive about that topic now, just in a different way with what we're trying to do with Evergreen and professional services. I think that there's a different way to work. I think there are better ways to work that enable better versions of ourselves, and just figuring out how to make that happen in ways that make people more successful and businesses more successful. I don't know why. It's actually kind of weird, but I love it.
Yeah.
So if you, in order to do that well, you have to really well understand people. And so I've become super obsessive about understanding people and our brains and how our brains work.
Well, where does that come from? Where does this obsessive nature come from? And this can be a sciencey answer, or this just can be like for you personally, whether it's your obsessive nature with running or...
It's deep. I think it comes from just like the community I grew up in. Like I had this really interesting background where on one side of my life was my parents are divorced. On one side of my life was my my mom's side, and it's Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's the University of Michigan. It's like achievement. It's
Go Blue.
academia. It's Go Blue. And then my dad's side was Warren, Michigan, 8 Mile. And the community that was there was not as awesome. It was what was going on in Michigan. So I just had this really stark contrast of like, work hard. Here's the future you could create. Maybe don't work hard or fall into these negative patterns. Like, here's the future that could create. So it always just like was this very real from a young age, like make the like red pill, blue pill thing of like, if I do these things, here's where I'm going to go. So.
And what do you think is the difference between working hard and obsessive? Like, to me, the word obsessive is a very intentional thing. And I do think what I see in both of you is different than just the blanket statement of like hard work, you know, the ultra marathon running, or the way that you obsess over culture. That's not just a person who likes culture and reads about it. So what is that difference?
I think
What
there's
is it?
two options here. There's two options.
Okay.
It could be ego. For a lot of people, obsessive is born from ego.
Why? Because the person
or
wants to be the expert on it or wants to be the best at it?
Michael Jordan is
Yeah.
obsessive.
Yeah.
That is not, So I think the two options are either ego or purpose.
Yeah. There's a few others. So to come back to that, one, I'll just say there's one other than one that I like, and that is I know that others won't do it.
Cool.
I love knowing that other people won't do it.
yes.
I just love knowing they won't do it.
Wait, hold
And
on.
So I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so like the paper chains is a good example of that.
Wait, let's talk about the paper
Right.
chains.
Hold
This
on,
is so, we got to scan up. We're in Bert's office right now,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
great. We got to scan up. Can you show this?
Tell the paper.
Talk about the paper
yeah,
chains.
And then
so-
I have to come back to what you said because you just hit me, and it's
Yeah.
so good.
Well, so also, look, I grew up with a lot of, I was never clinically diagnosed OCD, but I had a lot of OCD tendencies in the form of nonverbal habits or tics that would like kind of control me in a way. Growing up as a kid, I had to do them, and I don't want to do them now because I beat them, and I don't do them anymore. But if I start to do them, I'm always afraid I'm going to slip back into them.
That pattern can wear into you.
And so that I had that ability to be like hyper focused or obsessed on these things. I also had a bad stutter, which was which was very related to that. So I was already maybe hardwired that way, but yeah. So when we started, when I became CEO, we had a really bad just turnover problem in general. But really, a lot of our recruiters were quitting, and so I wanted the company to feel as real to them as it did to me whenever I started. I love that Glenn Johnson hired me, our former CEO and founder, and he knew me and I knew him, and that was so great. And I wanted our people. I wanted them to know that I see them too. If you started here as a recruiter, I may not know you, but I'm going to do everything I can to try to know you.
Because when you started, how many people were at the company?
I was like employee number 60.
Okay,
Yeah.
employee number 60, and now we
Yeah.
have over 5,000.
Yeah, 5,500
So
or something like that. Yeah, so
easier said than done.
yeah, but so I was like, okay, well, we need to lower recruiter turnover. We need to promote a certain amount of recruiters into the account manager role. So I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna, for every person that gets promoted into the AM role, I'm going to. Well, first off, I'm going to just track them. We had to do like something like 360 promotions that year, so I'm going to track them on a paper link chain, right? So like you made in school, like before
It's almost Christmas.
Very,
summer break,
very executive, professional, of course.
And I also love being out of the norm and being kind of crazy
Admin,
and stupid
please
like
get me
that.
a stack of construction paper,
And so
multicolored.
we hung them in my office, and with every promotion, I would clip and you're in the story too. I think you know this. With every promotion that would happen that year, it was a way for I could track how we were doing. I would cut off a paper chain, and the first year I was just saving them. I was saving them in my desk.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I would just save them. I saved them in my desk. And Katie comes into my office one day. She's like, "What are you doing? What is this?" And I was like, I'm like Gollum over there with my paper chains, right? And I'm like, "Oh, don't worry." And she's like, "No, what's in that drawer?" And why are these? I was like, "Well, these are promotions where I was cutting the names. I was cutting the links down. And I was writing their names on them, and I was saving them." And I just wanted to do that. I wanted to save them. And she was like, "You got to send those to people." And I was like,
Damn,
oh.
Katie, this was you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I was like, all right.
That's
So
amazing.
I started writing them a note and my phone number and started mailing them out to our people. And that was really cool and powerful. And people love getting like, oh, I got promoted. And then I got a note from Bert in the mail with his phone number. He sees me, knows me. That was 2018. And that was really nice. And we promoted all those people and we hit our goal. But then I was like, well, but what about the 2019 people? in the 2020s. And so I kept it going.
Here we are with the 2025
and so
people.
now,
Yeah.
and so now the goal is generally about 1,000 promotions every year. I do it for account managers and pro recruiter. Anybody that starts in the company as a recruiter, the first promotion that you get gets a paper chain. And it's a way that I can still stay somewhat connected. And I love doing it because it's insane and it's absurd and it's crazy and most
And it's
people shouldn't.
obsessive.
And it's obsessive.
Maybe
yeah.
that's actually a better way to answer, and a better way for me to frame the question of what are you obsessive over. It's more, how do you express your obsessive nature of wanting the company be successful and wanting to show that you're obsessive as a CEO and wanting to make these 5,500 employees see and feel that you want this company to flourish. And that's one of the ways for certain.
Yeah.
Steve, you wanted to touch on something. I don't know what it was, but...
Oh, Bert just said because no one else will do it. And there was a moment when I was, it's actually kind of embarrassing. I did not go to my high school prom.
Which one? Junior, senior?
Senior year.
But why? No
I
date?
didn't go to prom. It had to do with like a last minute bad situation with a girl. I don't want to mention her
You want to
name.
unpack it?
She may or may not have
Say the
made
name.
out.
Say the name.
No, I can't. But she may or may not have made out.
Say it and we'll bleep it. Say it and we'll bleep it. I
Don't
want to
say
know
it.
it.
She's not going to believe
Oh,
it.
you can bleep it.
I
We
don't
can bleep it.
know that we have podcast trust. Okay, so she may or may not have made out with one of my friends, like
Named?
right before prom, and I found out, and I was like, okay, I'm not like. She's like, just go to prom. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go to prom. So I stayed home from prom, and I was expecting, and I ended up watching the movie Troy. The movie Troy, Brad
decent
Pitt.
movie, yeah.
Brad Pitt's like, it's not like an amazing movie, but there's this moment in the movie where at the very beginning of the movie, Brad Pitt's like laying in his tent, and this boy comes running across the village, and he wakes up Achilles, who Brad Pitt is playing. Achilles, like so-and-so is here to fight you. And so Achilles just kind of gets out of bed, and he starts to lace up his Greek sandal things. And the boys, while Achilles is lacing up his sandals, the boy's like, Achilles, this is the biggest man I've ever seen. Like, I wouldn't want to fight him. And Achilles looks at him.
I remember what he says.
and he goes, that's why no one will remember your name.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then he just gets up and goes.
Yeah.
And honestly, there was something born in me in that moment where I was like, I like not being at prom right now.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's at prom. Like, what if I don't go to
Bunch of sheep.
Yeah. And then, but it was not like I was being original. It was more like, wait a minute. Like, I like this feeling, like of not being where everyone else is. And,
Yeah, it's
and then
the
that
best.
moment happened.
It's the best.
And something was born in me.
And
like,
I love it
I'm
when
going to look
people-
for other moments in
Yeah,
life
where
where
I can do
everyone else is
something
doing
that
this.
others- yeah.
And I'm going to be down here figuring
best-
out how to get better, figuring out how to
Yes.
grow.
Yes. And the best is when people
And then
don't
that feeling.
The best is when people
Yeah.
don't understand. They're like, how can you do that? And it's like, oh, perfect. I love that you don't know that. I love
Right.
that you can't even get that.
You can't even.
Because I'm so much farther down the road than you.
And it's weird, but that moment, like there's other times in life where I love when other people are not working and you are. And or when everything, people are like, oh, it's Friday, it's 5. We're going on vacation. It's like, no, I'm just going to work until it's 5 and my wife's going to hate me. But like, there's something about it I want to prove to myself. But then there's like, I want to get that little inch of growth that comes with that. And
I remember
Yeah.
I started working here at Encyclopedia, July of 2010. And my first Christmas, I went home for the holidays. But on Christmas Eve, I got Rex on December 23rd. And Rex are openings from a client named Zeke Trezevant. And I remember sitting in my childhood bed, and the day before I had flown back to Tucson, Arizona, I printed up about a dozen resumes of candidates who looked like they would be a good fit for Zeke Trezevant's rec. And I remember sitting on my childhood bed in my bedroom, calling these candidates and feeling such pride and wanting my parents to see and wanting my siblings to ask, like, why are you doing it? Do you have to do that? And there is something like really gratifying of feeling like, no, I don't have to, but I want to, and I want to prove to myself, and I wanted other people to know and to see that I was doing that.
And by the way, let me just wade into this. Well, Katie, aren't you blurring work and life and balance? And aren't you like not making amazing memories with your family and instead you're working? And it's like, no, you didn't grow up to be this weirdo, obsessed workaholic person.
No.
This was like a very narrow moment in your life where you're like, I got to get something done here. This is kind of a move I got to make. I'm going to go do this. And that's fine.
Yes.
That's fine. You can be obsessive, but in this one moment about something that was really important, that was kind of shaped how you work a little bit without like wrecking your family life.
Yes, that for 2 hours, I called them, I found the right candidate.
Yes.
I called Zeke Trezevant on Christmas Eve, who answered and said, "Why are you calling me on Christmas Eve?"
Yeah.
But guess what? He hired my candidate, and then he went on to hire exclusively from me from then
There you
forward
go.
because he
Let's go.
saw the person
Of
that I
course.
was. So maybe I do actually have an inkling of the obsessive tendencies that you guys
Of course
have.
you
Now
do.
that
I
we're
remember
kind of-
also in Dallas, you were one of the first ones in the office every morning.
Oh my gosh.
As a recruiter.
Actually, I have a very good memory when I was trying to get promoted. So we have these things called role plays. When you're trying to get promoted, you role play running a meeting. So you're a recruiter trying to get into sales. So you role play with the leader of that office or the leader of that region in order to earn that promotion. And you were in town. You were a regional manager at the time. But my parents were in town, and I guess I really want to impress my parents as I'm telling the story back to back. So
Hi, Mom.
maybe we gotta unpack that. But my parents were visiting Dallas, and they're at the hotel. So they were using my car, so they were gonna drop me off at work that day. And I had a role play scheduled with you before, because we would only role play before work. God
Yes.
forbid we couldn't role play
Yes.
during working hours because
Yes.
that was when we needed to call candidates and call clients. So our role play was scheduled for 7 a.m. And I needed to practice this role play before role playing with you, which again is a practice meeting. So I need to practice the practice meeting before
Slightly
you.
obsessive there, Katie.
And Brittany Dorsch, who is one of my best friends, one of the all-time Insight Global greats. So I asked her to practice the practice meeting with me at 6 a.m. So I'd be ready for the 7. She already had one scheduled at 6 a.m. So she offered to do it with me at 5 a.m. So I asked my dad to drop me off at 4 a.m. so I could practice my practice role play with the practice role play with Brittany at 5 to
Yeah.
practice with Bert at 7 in hopes of getting promoted
that's
that
Yeah.
That's
so the
obsessive.
moral of the story, yeah. 4 a.m.
But yes, but I love getting into the office early, and that was really what kickstarted my career. A little bit obsessive.
Well, and look, there's seasons in everybody's career where you can dip into more of that than not. That's how I get asked questions all the time. Hey, how do you think about work-life balance and things like that? And it's like it's impossible for me to ever answer that question. It's so personal. That is for you alone to answer, and it also is going to change with whatever season of working life you're in. you
Yep.
know? I love that.
So, guys, obviously there's healthy ways to channel this obsessive behavior, but I feel like it also could go into maybe a slippery slope. Like, how do you keep that in check? How do you keep these obsessive behaviors so that they are productive and pushing you in the right direction?
I think you got to stay fully present. You got to know that what you're doing is you're proud to do it, and you're proud that you've got the work ethic and the commitment and the focus level to be able to be obsessive. I'm always like proud that I can turn that switch on when I want to, and that being still like above it as opposed to in it gives me, a good like. It helps me govern like when am I swinging too hard on this or not. Also, there are things that you can do like little cheat codes or hacks where like I like the running as a hobby because I can wake up and be out the door by 4:45. I can run 10 miles and I can be back at the house before my kids are awake.
Yeah, that's
right?
so
like
awesome.
and so like nobody's hurt there,
Yeah, it's
right?
like a
And
freebie.
Maybe I go to sleep at 9:15. Okay, fine, no big deal. Nothing good happens after 9:15 anyway. So
Other than White Lotus on Sunday.
yeah.
Also staying
So-
up for that.
So
Yeah.
good. So
But
good.
so you can do those things to self-govern, but it's always being aware that you're sort of, that can definitely go too far. But it also, again, it's back to what are your goals and what is your life season like. It used to. It annoys me to no end whenever I hear people that are so much older, so much richer, so much more in a different season of life tell young people like, don't do that. Don't be careful there. Like, you don't know what I'm trying to do. That's not how you were operating when you were 23 years old. Let me live my life how I want to right now. Nobody's being hurt by this. Like, this is what I want to do. So it is really being in touch with who you are and what your goals are.
Right.
If your goals are you want to be a really present parent, and that's most important, well then yeah, you're not going to be able to be overly obsessed about work and things like that. No big deal, because that's what you're more focused on right now. But if your goals are something else, maybe it is being great at work, maybe it is running a sub 3-hour marathon, then okay, you're going to be more obsessed with those things there. And so it's really understanding what is success for you in that season in life, and not letting the haters hate, or haters distract you, as Taylor Swift says.
What?
I was not
Great
expecting
nods
Taylor
to Swift. Are you a Swiftie, by the way?
Maybe.
I feel like Ellie influenced you to be a Swiftie.
I like some of her stuff. Dead Poets, I'm not so much on.
Okay, I feel like that's some of her best work, but that's fine.
Troubled Poets or whatever it is. Yeah.
So maybe this is good advice for people to get, but how do you kind of catapult people from being in that hardworking mindset to being obsessive, and to getting in that mindset where they can drive super hard at something that is important to them, whether it is personal or professional?
I don't think you can. I think that's a them journey. That's a them decision to make.
I think it can, sometimes I think people stumble upon it because they have an experience. Sometimes it's born. I think you have a better shot at it, let's say, if you find a level of purpose. Like I think you can be obsessive for ego reasons. You can be obsessive for purpose reasons. But I think there are moments in life where people find out that they're capable of something and they can see themselves a little bit differently. And then maybe they push a little further and they see it even more. And I think that's when it can happen. Like that would be how I feel.
Yeah, but in terms of coaching somebody to that.
Yeah, coaching, it's a little bit of your journey. Like you
Do you think you got it or you don't? Or is it?
Yeah, it's like okay, I think you can coach somebody to work hard. We're going to do drills and fundamentals and role plays, and that's what it takes to be successful in those things. And people can do that and they can check the box. But a classic obsessive Kobe Bryant, the guy that's out there, right, practicing 3 hours a day before he works out, before his team practice, and then practice after that. Nobody's like coaching him to do that. And the reason why is because when you're doing really obsessive tasks to get better, and this is maybe I don't mean for this to sound so heavy or sad, but you're doing them by yourself. Like you're doing them by yourself, sort of in isolation. So you've got to be your own motivator. Nobody's telling me like, hey, Bert, make sure you write those 10 paper chains today.
Right.
Or hey, on a Saturday morning when you get done writing the 10th one because you didn't do them during the week, nobody's patting me on the back saying, great job.
Yeah.
Nobody, when you get back from a long run that you had to wake up early to do, nobody's sitting there on the side of your bed being like, come on, wake up. Remember, this is part of your training plan this week. Make sure you get up and go do it. And nobody's cheering you on at the end of the driveway like, great job. You did your Thursday run. That was kind of cold and wet out there. Oh my gosh, you're a killer. No. That is by yourself.
You kind of hope
you
for
are
Strava to give you a little bit of that.
Strava's the best you got. Strava's the best you got.
Strava's all you got.
It's it.
Yeah.
Right? And those
hope
kudos
that
mean a
the other guys
lot.
slide into your DM saying, whoa, you really crushed those hills today.
But so like you gotta like be cool being by yourself and being self-motivated. And by the way, if you're not, no big deal at all. But if you want to kind of access that next level, you got to be willing to go do some stuff by yourself.
Lock into it. Know that it's a journey that you might travel on your own. But if you are the Kobe, so if you are that person who is obsessive and they are on that journey on their own, I'm sure that there are frustrating moments in time because a lot of this is a team sport. Kobe is on a team, so he's out there, he's practicing to try to better himself to win the game with his team. Do you guys have advice if you are trying to pull a group ahead and maybe you have people on the team who don't have that same obsessive nature? How do you bring them with you? How do you get them on board if they themselves don't have that same tendency?
Yeah, that's a great point. So that gets into what are the goals of the team, right? And so if the goals of the team are to win, great. Well, like you don't. I mean, he won a bunch of championships and he didn't have everybody that was obsessed as he was.
Yeah.
But
still great players.
He had a goal to win as a team, but I think he also had this other goal that was to be the greatest of all time. And so you can have two goals, right? Yep. And so I think you can have a goal to win and to be great, and that's where you want to, hey, let's talk to each other, let's instruct each other, let's confront each other, let's coach each other up and that sort of thing. But you can have sort of shared goals for sure like that. But this, like, if you really want to get into this like obsessive thing, it's a little different, I think, and I think it's surrounding yourself with like-minded people, hiring and promoting in that way, I think gives you an advantage and helps you kind of get other people there. and probably showing that you can have your cake and eat it too in some ways, where you can really lean into something like work or something like training, and still also have a good family life outside of that. Like that, that shows other people, okay, you really can have both things.
And Bert, I think I want to say what I'm going to say next on the heels of when I moved to Atlanta in 2019. I was super impressed because like I think in New Jersey where I lived previously, or in New York, it was like a badge of honor to work until 6 or to 7 or whatever. But when I got here, Bert, I remember watching you leave at 5, and you were as obsessive as anyone while you were doing the thing that you were doing. Insanely present, only where you are, and then you'd leave at 5, and then probably go be obsessive with your family. But back to your question, there's something when you have a Kobe in a team though that changes in the environment. Mm-hmm. Like when you have Kobe on the team, it shifts, and I think there's something very cool that can happen when you start to hold up the mirror and show people like where they are against like what they're capable of. And this is my belief. I know that I'm here for a reason, and there's stuff that I should be doing, and that's what makes me obsessive. Is like this matters, like this life matters, what we're all trying to do matters, and I could not do something. I could mail it in, I could be lazy, but that's limiting like what I'm supposed to be doing.
100%.
And I think when there's people that can create change and that can unlock other people a little bit. And maybe you don't need to fully Kobe it from an obsessive, but maybe if you did like a little bit more, maybe that matters.
Yeah, I think I've always loved the saying, you become the average of the people you spend the most time with.
Yes.
And
so
I think I love that. So I want the Kobe, and I think Kobe does bring people up, but Kobe wants to surround himself with the best of the best, and you just naturally bring everyone up and together, and you improve the quality. And I think that goes for personally, professionally. I love having high character friends. I love having hardworking, smart people that I work with.
And this is I love thinking about this. There's someone out there, maybe they're listening to this podcast, and they might be world class at something. They might be world class, but they might be in the wrong group, and they might not be walking toward their ability to be world class. And so they'll never find out. They'll never get there. Like it'll never happen. Like that's why I kind of just love the work. I know it's weird, but I just love the work. I love
the work
showing up.
of.
I love this, like coming to work and just figuring out what I'm good at. Ooh, I found a little weakness today. That's cool. Like, what do I need to learn? Like, how do I need to grow? Like
that gets into the people. I think obsessives actually like the inputs more than the outputs.
That's right. Like I don't even like.
That's why I like. I love the medal, and I love the feeling that you get crossing a finish line. But I really love all the training.
That's what I want people to in the world to learn. Like standing on stage, like getting the accolade, like. You said, Bert, it lasts about 10 minutes and you have a nice little warm, fuzzy glow for 2 days. But if you can fall in love with the process and the work and grinding, like if you can make the cave like a fun place to be, like, I don't know. That's where...
This is then, I guess, an interesting take on the question or answer to the question of, like, when are you done being obsessive over something? I guess, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, when you finish that 100-miler, or when you do get the company to that goal, or whatever that may be, or when Kobe did get, most valuable player, but it's really not about that accomplishment or that medal. It's all about the inputs. It sounds like.
Yeah. I don't know when you stop. I mean, I guess it also depends on whatever your goals are. This is where I think like being obsessive, it's just like anything else. You're sort of growing that muscle. And so it shows up in a bunch of things. I don't think it's necessarily just one thing. I think we probably all have a certain amount of stuff that we can choose to focus on or be obsessive about. And there's periods of our life where some things will fall off of it, but it'll be replaced by something else.
You create space for something new.
Correct. For instance, like I know I watched Steve Wasik open a peppermint before we started, and some crumbs that are white fell on the carpet that you won't be able to see. I'm not worried because I've got a vacuum cleaner behind that pillar, and I'm going to vacuum it up when you guys
damn
are done.
good Dyson.
So so I'm obsessive about being clean too.
Yeah.
Because nobody likes crumbs.
Nobody likes.
Can't make a case for crumbs.
Nope. Can't make a case for crumbs. Okay, so when did you realize the power of obsession? I know that you said that you always had kind of these little OCD-ish tendencies, but do you remember when you realized that you could harness this obsessive tendency and really create some good forward momentum with it?
Oh, good question. That is a soul searcher. Yes. It was the the last summer job that I had before going off to college. It was with Dr. Toby Atkinson. I worked for him. He was a veterinarian in Andalusia, this small town I grew up in. There was only 2 vets. He was one of them, and he's a great guy, but he's a small business owner, so he's a little thrifty. There's only 3 people that worked there. It was him, his receptionist, and me. And so I took care of all the dogs in the back.
Just vet tech Bert Bean.
Yes, correct. And it was South Alabama heat. All these dogs would do, go to the bathroom in their stalls and stuff. And
that sounds miserable.
I'd have to clean it up.
By the way, that sounds.
I'd have to get
That sounds.
there. As like an 18-year-old.
Hi, Bert. Can you please clean my dog's anal glands? Yep. Step right up.
I did a lot of that, yeah. And so I was working like a dog, no pun intended, for like 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, and really hot. And I remember thinking, here's the thing, I remember thinking, oh, I'm really good at this. Like I can squeegee out these stalls. I can get every ounce of dog poop off of this. I can clean all the fleas and ticks off these dogs, and I can do it really well. And nobody's better than me. And this job isn't breaking me. Now, I don't want to be a vet. This job has an end date, and when I get to go to college at the end, which is cool. So that's cool. But I'm not gonna quit. And not only am I not going to quit, I'm actually going to thrive in it, and I'm going to be the best, even though I don't enjoy the work itself.
Yeah.
And I think that was when I was like, okay, if I can do this, then I can do anything.
Oh, that's amazing. I freaking love that answer. Do you have one, Steve? Do you remember a specific moment?
I have one. It was early in leadership. I probably should have been more obsessive about my sales career. But it was early in leadership, and I remember there was someone on my team that was not doing well, and they were struggling. I was like, oh, I haven't like given you everything I have. But I was like, I believe in you. I know you can do this. And I remember telling that person, like, I believe in you. I have your back. And then I remember obsessing over supporting them and obsessing over.
And how did you show that? What did that mean?
Being hard on them, like holding a higher standard for them. Getting into that real comfy space where there's gonna be no space between you and me. And if something's off, like we're gonna talk about it really quickly. But then I remember watching that person get results and grow.
And now you're on.
And then I remember being like,
awesome.
whoa,
I'm gonna do this.
This is a thing.
Over and over.
And then I remember the feeling of like them getting promoted and making money and like what that meant. But then I remember being like, wait a minute, like the way that we just did that together is good.
Yeah.
Like that's good.
Yeah.
That's goodness. Like you'll probably take that and you'll do that to other people. Probably be a pretty good dad, like for some of these lessons. Not that like, right? But just like we did goodness stuff that then created growth in your life. And that's when I was like, good luck getting me out of the office at 5 before a holiday.
No kidding.
Because this is awesome.
Yep.
Like, this is awesome.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Well, guys, thank you for letting me dive into your beautiful minds, your obsessive brains. It's lovely talking to you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Until next time.
See you next
Until
time.
next time.